Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is Amstel Gold 2025. Guys, this is the sixth monument of the pro cycling season. There's no doubt about it. It's the one that's never marked. We have finished Milan-San Remo, we have done Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix, and Amstel Gold has to be one of the sixth monuments. I know it's not rated as one, but if you've ever done it, it's remarkable. The fans are amazing, and the course, especially when you're going up to Kohlberg, is famous. They use it in Road World Championships, and of course, they use it time and time again here at Amstel Gold. Today, with under 80 kilometers to go, they're going to pass it no less than 3 times. It's going to be an amazing stage today, and we have Tadej Pogačar and Remco Evenepoel back for his second race of the 25 season. Let's not forget some of the other big-time hitters, because Wout van Aert, 6th on the first page here of the Butterfly Effect, is in the race. So we got 3 first-page riders here. Along with them, we got a host of talent, of course, because we got past winners. When we're talking about Tom Pidcock winning last season, Tadej Pogačar won the season before him. And then we got riders from Lidl-Trek like Skilmos and Thibaut Nice that have been on good form. Skilmos said at the Basque Country that he was enjoying how his form has come up. He crashed at Paris-Nice, but at the Basque Country was getting better and better, and he said he was hoping to peak for the classics here at the Ardennes. That means Amstel, Flèche, and Liège, Bastogne-Liège, that are still the 2 races to come after here at Amstel Gold. When the racing comes on, we already know it's been full gas back there, because the break of 8 riders are almost wrapped in. They only got about a 15-second gap on UAE Team Emirates at the front. They have 4 riders in the front. Sivakov's there, Grossschartner, McNulty, the American, and Tadej Pogačar, of course, in the rainbow band jersey. As they're coming up the climbs, we start seeing the break of there falling apart, and they'll wrap everyone up after crossing the finish line shortly thereafter with about 70 kilometers to go, with Michael Hessman from Movistar being the last rider in the original break. That means the racing has been incredibly intense, and we start coming into 55 kilometers to go, and EF Education are on the front blown up. They got 4 guys up there. It's Harry Sweeney, that's sitting first wheel right there. Battistella second, and then of course we got Ben Healy and Nielsen Palace, who are riding on fine form. If I back the film up to when they crossed the finish line, we saw Jonathan Narvaez get out of his team car, UAE Team Emirates, all bandaged up, so there was a crash. And then we see Vandenberg from EF Education, their fast sprinter, kind of classic specialist. He had clearly gone down in a crash earlier too, because his shorts are ripped up. So those guys are out of the picture. That's why we see 4 EF Education riders on the front. And, well, probably because they're knuckleheads, because they're riding full gas, just like they did on Friday's race, the Principale. Now, when we see these guys riding, why am I calling them knuckleheads? Well, Tadej Pogačar is down to 4 teammates, and 2, Sivakov and Grossschartner, have already been riding hard. Now EF Education are picking the pace up. You do not want to pick the pace up and pull Tadej Pogačar. If the break is already brought back and you want to start tacking and sending some riders to create another break here at Amstel Gold, starting with under 55 kilometers to go, go ahead. I won't call you a knucklehead, but if you're pulling on the front full gas and Tadej Pogačar sitting on your wheel, Remco Evenepoel's back there, you guys got to be knuckleheads. As they come into the next climb, we'll see Brandon McNulty. He's coming up passing his leader there in the rainbow band jersey, Tadej Pogačar, and he looks over at him. Tadej Pogačar gives a nod, and then Julian Alaphilippe, Two-Door Cycling, looks over there to Brandon McNulty and gives a big old smile and a grin. And, of course, Brandon McNulty starts grinning too, because EF Education are knuckleheads. They're right in the front, pulling UAE Team Emirates around right now, as most of the teammates from UAE Team Emirates have been dropped out or had abandoned from crashes, like Jonathan Narvaez. As they go over the top of the climb, it's still all compact, and then we see Lidl-Trek start hopping on the front as we're coming into just under 50 kilometers to go and up to one of the next bergs. With Lidl-Trek on the front, they're flying up, coming into the right turn. We see Brandon McNulty grab Tadej Pogačar and bring him up to the front. As they come out of this right turn, Lidl-Trek's there. Julian Alaphilippe's on the left side of the picture, and he throws in an acceleration, and Tadej Pogačar in the rainbow band jersey goes with him. We're at about 47, 48 kilometers to go. Julian Alaphilippe's veins in his neck are showing all over the place. He's throwing maximum effort in the pedals. Tadej Pogačar looks comfortable, and Thibaut Nice starts to blow, and Julian Alaphilippe and Tadej Pogačar got a gap at Amstel Gold 2025. These 2 riders start working well together, and to my disbelief, Julian Alaphilippe is pulling with Tadej Pogačar. Okay, if I backed the film up 3 seasons ago, Julian Alaphilippe is a first-page rider, but this is a different story here in 2025, and why the Frenchman is pulling with Tadej Pogačar and lighting it up with him sitting on his wheels beyond me. We go back and start looking at what's happening, and there was a bunch of different attacks, but Lidl Trek are trying to hold things together with this rider called Baggioli, who's doing a fine ride. As Baggioli's setting some tempo on the front, this brings me back to earlier videos where I said, once Tadej Pogačar goes up the road, don't follow him, just try to get organized back there and have teams working well together. Well, Lidl Trek's trying to do that. We'll see that Skilmo starts throwing in some attacks. I don't like this move. Baggioli was doing a great job. When you look at the size of the group, we'll call it about 30 riders. It was fluctuating in size nonstop. We'll give it about 30 or 15 riders at different points in times. But there's multiple riders, 2 or 3 from Visma Lease Bike, because the big guy Wout van Aert's in there, Thies Benoot's in there, and Ben Toulet was in this front group. I saw Attila Valters from time to time, but at least 2, if not 3 Visma Lease bikes. Jayco have multiple numbers with Mario Schmid, who was doing some attacking on the front when he's got Michael Matthews in this group. That was a knucklehead move, but now they got multiple numbers, so they can start working on the front. FDJ have multiple numbers and a host of other teams, but most importantly, Remco Evenepoel has missed a move. If we back the camera all the way up when they came out of that corner and before Julian Alaphilippe started attacking, I'll show you where Remco Evenepoel was in about 25th position. Ilan van Wilder was just in and around that position, a little further back from Remco Evenepoel, and Max Schachmann, all from Pseudo Quickstep, was swinging at the back of the group. But now we start getting a little bit further as Baggioli has tried time and time to try to settle this peloton down to keep the gap at a minimal distance up there to Tadej Pogačar and Julian Alaphilippe. But Skilmos keeps attacking. Where are you going to go, Skilmos? You're not going to be able to bridge the gap. But as we start coming into about 42 kilometers to go, Tadej Pogačar has dropped Julian Alaphilippe as Skilmos is coming up to the back wheel there. Now, you guys got to work together. The size of this group have multiple numbers back there like Visma Lease Bikes, Wout van Aert, Thies Benoot, and I saw Ben Toulet back there from time to time too. FDJ have multiple numbers back there. And of course, Pseudo Quickstep have Remco Evenepoel, Ilan van Wilder, and Max Schachmann's been swinging on and off of the back of the group from time to time. Well, as Skilmos attacks, multiple attacks, at least 2 or 3 have been brought back. Now we start seeing that it's Remco Evenepoel on the front. We're coming into about 40 kilometers to go. As we start getting into this mark with Remco Evenepoel on the front, this is a crucial moment right here. This is so money right here as we see Ilan van Wilder get on the radio with Remco Evenepoel at the front of the group. As he gets on the radio, you can see Remco Evenepoel start touching his earpiece up there on the side of his head. And as he does, he swings off to the left. That means he's heard on the radio that Ilan van Wilder can come to the front. The gap's up at about 25 seconds. Tadej Pogačar's going solo right now. We're coming under 40 kilometers to go as Ilan van Wilder comes to the front. Max Schachmann was at the back of this group and just reattached himself to the back, so I assume that the German rider doesn't have any legs left because he's not coming to the front, but Ilan van Wilder is doing a remarkable job on the next climb as he's blowing the group up to about 15 riders. We start looking at the riders behind. We'll call it about 10, 15 riders back there. Max Schachmann's gotten dropped, and Brandon McNulty, UAE Team Emirates, has gotten dropped too. He's done a remarkable job of covering attacks after attacks, but now he has to do a big leap as we're going down the descent, and we see Tadej Pogačar in the Aero Tuck on the small narrow roads here of Amstel Gold. We go back and look at Brandon McNulty. He's bridging the gap up to this front group, but Ilan van Wilder's pulling full gas on. And then we see Nielsen Palace, EF Education, doing the same thing that Brandon McNulty just did as they're rounding the left turn at the bottom of the steep descent. We see that Brandon McNulty's on the back, and Palace is just getting near the back right now as Tadej Pogačar starting the next climb. He starts drilling up the next climb, and we see that, of course, Remco Evenepoel's Ilan van Wilder led into this climb. Now it's time for Remco Evenepoel to go to work. This was the most you could ask for after your teammate Ilan van Wilder did a great job of saving Remco Evenepoel 8 kilometers of having to ride the front, and Tadej Pogačar's been up there solo in the wind the whole time. So now, as the gap only dropped about 8 seconds, it went from 25 to about 33 seconds that Ilan van Wilder was pulling and only lost 8 seconds to Tadej Pogačar. That's what I've been talking about on earlier videos here, where I want to see teams work together to hold that gap with the Super Domestiques and allow Tadej Pogačar to get a little more tired out front and be out there in the wind, while Remco Evenepoel and other favorites here at Amstel Gold like Wout van Aert, of course like Skilmos, are still sitting back there. Well, then we see Remco Evenepoel go to work on the next climb here, and it's a steep, nasty one. As he starts going up the climb, we see Ben Healy. Ben Healy starts opening up the gap. He's fought to be at the front, but now the speed from Remco Evenepoel is dropping Ben Healy as he's opening up the gap, and Nielsen Palace at the back of this 15, 16 rider group, he's starting to drop too as Remco Evenepoel stretching it out. He's got about 5, 6 riders on his wheel. They get to the top, no one can pull through with Remco Evenepoel, so he sits up, and then we see the next attack from Lidl Trek Skilmos. Matthias Skilmos throws in a vicious attack as everyone slows down just a minute. The Lidl Trek rider accelerates up the road. We see behind, as the groups are coming back together, that means they're slowing up, and the group's growing up to about another 15-number rider here, chasing Tadej Pogačar, who of course is being chased by Matthias Skilmos from Lidl Trek. But Skilmos has got to make up about 25, 30 seconds right now on Tadej Pogačar, and I just don't see it happening. Something has to happen in the back. Well, Remco Evenepoel throws in an attack. It gets brought back, and then in with his second attack on the right side of the road as he's blazing up the sidewalk area there close to the gutter. He's got a gap on everyone. How did it happen? Well, we go back to the replay, and we see that Remco Evenepoel threw an attack with Tom Pidcock on his wheel, sitting third and fourth. Tom Pidcock sat up, let Remco Evenepoel go. Now he's going solo, and he bridges up quickly to Skilmos with just under 25 kilometers to go. They got about 30 seconds they got to make up. Skilmos is not pulling on the next couple climbs as we come into the Kolberg with just about 20 kilometers to go, the famous climb here at Amstel Gold. They got to take out some time of Tadej Pogačar. We start looking at the back there, what's happening. Ben Healy, EF Education's throwing in attacks all over. They got the two riders in front at about 10, 15 seconds who are holding Tadej Pogačar just around 20 and sometimes under 20 seconds as the gap is continuing to drop. Ben Healy gets brought back, and then you see the group behind start to spread out and play more games, and that's when I send Garrett the text that race is over for these guys in the back. It's up to Remco Evenepoel and Skilmos if they're going to keep this exciting to Tadej Pogačar. Well, Tadej Pogačar crosses the finish line for one more lap here with just about 20 kilometers to go, with about a 15-second gap on the two chasers behind. Now, Remco's been pulling on the climbs, but when we come up to the next flat sections, we see Skilmos is rotating through with the Belgian Wonder Kid from Pseudo Quickstep. As the gap keeps dropping and dropping, each climb with Remco Evenepoel pulling on the climb and Skilmos holding on for dear life, but rotating through on the flats. They're bringing time back up on the Slovenian Tadej Pogačar from UAE Team Emirates. Once they come into about 8 kilometers to go, Tadej Pogačar's wrapped up, but Remco Evenepoel wants to fly by the Slovenian. As he doesn't slow down, he passes on the left side and gives it everything in his TT position here on his road bike at Amstel Gold. And Tadej Pogačar's hurting to close the gap. He closes up to the back wheel. This is the first sign. Well, the second sign. The first sign was they got caught. The second sign right now is that Tadej Pogačar is hurting to close this gap. And once he does, he's not interested in working anymore with these front riders. We see Skilmos come through and take some pull, and then we see both Skilmos and Remco Evenepoel giving Tadej Pogačar a little bit of a hard time. But guys, he's been solo for under 50 kilometers to go here, and solo, since 42 when he dropped Julian Alaphilippe. He's got the right to sit on right now. Skilmos is working a little bit with Remco Evenepoel. Tadej Pogačar will take a couple small pulls at the front. Then Remco Evenepoel's doing most as we're coming down the descent with about 2.5, 2.4 kilometers to go. We'll hit the left turn and start the Kolberg, the last and final climb here at Amstel Gold. It's Remco Evenepoel on the front. Skilmos is being careful with his energy. Tadej Pogačar is saving everything he can for the sprint. So the Belgium kid's got to ride the front again, just like at Brabantse where he had Wout van Aert sitting on his wheel. Now he's got Skilmos and Tadej Pogačar sitting on his wheel. As Remco Evenepoel closes up to the summit here of the Kolberg, Skilmos starts giving him a little bit of hand, and then we come under 1.4 kilometer, 1.3 kilometers to go. Remco's on the front now all the way into the 1K banner. Then he's still stuck on the front. We start coming into about 300-400 meters to go, he's going to switch sides of the roads. He's going over to the left side. Once he hits his kick at about 225 meters to go, you see him go from the left to the center of the road all the way over to the right as he's throwing everything in, trying to drop the two companions that have been kind of sitting on his wheel here at Amstel Gold, as Tadej Pogačar sitting second, and we look at Skilmo's third. Tadej Pogačar hits out about 150, 125 meters to go, comes to the left side, and quickly comes up side by side to the Belgium kid from Pseudo Quickstep, Remco Evenepoel. Now we come into about 75 meters to go. Skilmos has started his acceleration, coming to the left side of Tadej Pogačar. They come into about 50, 60 meters to go. The two riders in front are side by side. Skilmos is getting closer. We see Remco Evenepoel and Tadej Pogačar sit down for a second. Then Skilmos gains a little bit more time. Tadej Pogačar, Remco Evenepoel both get out of the saddle again. It's going to be three wide here with about 30 meters to go. 25 meters to go. Remco Evenepoel is the first rider to crack as he sits down and sits up. And then it's a bike throw between Tadej Pogačar and Skilmos at the line. I didn't know who won it live. When we watch it again from the side angle, though, we see Skilmos did a great job of coming up at the last minute with the bike throw, winning by about a third of a wheel there to win today's Amstel Gold. He taps his head up onto his helmet there in disbelief as he beat two first-page riders here, and beat Wout van Aert too if you want to add a third first page, but two in the sprint with the #1 ranked rider in the world, Tadej Pogačar, and Remco Evenepoel fourth in my rankings here on the Butterfly Effect, as Skilmos takes a marvelous big win here for Lidl Trek. Now, do I agree with his tactics? I don't agree with his tactics. I think he should have worked smoothly back there with the other teams. He jumped the gap, which means what? It means when he jumped the gap, he has to wait for somebody to come, or he's racing for podium, right? I don't call podium predictions up here, but when we see the interview from Skilmos, he dedicates the win to a loved one that had passed away recently, and then crucially he says, when I attacked, I thought I was going for a podium spot. That's what I mean. If you stayed back there with that group and you worked together, for sure you could bring back Tadej Pogačar if he has any chinks in his armor. And today, Tadej Pogačar certainly had a chink. He wasn't at 100% of his best. There's no doubt about that. Or the group behind wouldn't have been able to hold him so close, with Baggioli back there being the real main antagonist back there from Lidl Trek, holding them closer together. So Skilmos needed the power of Remco Evenepoel, of course, to come up there. Now, Skilmos was flawless in his technique at the finish to win the sprint. There's no doubt about it. And flawless letting the Belgium kid, Remco Evenepoel, do most of the work on the climbs. But, of course, at the end, you got to have the legs. He had the legs. He won against Tadej Pogačar and Remco Evenepoel. Fantastic win for Lidl Trek. Now we look at Tadej Pogačar. His form could have dropped, of course, from Paris-Roubaix that he just got done finishing a couple weeks ago. So this is his first race back. We'll see if he gets better at Flèche-Wallonne and, of course, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. But when I dissect Remco Evenepoel's form, guys, he crashed today. He started the climb in 25th position when Julian Alaphilippe was attacking. He made his way up to the front bit by bit throughout the whole time. And then with 40 kilometers to go, when Ilan van Wilder did that amazing radio contact to say, don't pull, have faith in me, I'll come to the front and I'll do a Superman pull, which Ilan van Wilder did. So that was experience right there from Remco Evenepoel, to have trust in his team that I've been asking him to do throughout multiple years here on the Butterfly Effect. It was a magical moment. Now, did he win the sprint? No, but he didn't come up by too much short on today's Amstel Gold Race. So a fantastic job from Remco Evenepoel. His form clearly is coming up with only his second race in the 25 season. Tadej Pogačar, he should get better. And Skilmos, great job riding today and tactically sound there at the end, following the right wheels and winning today's sprint. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next edition real soon.